guys all know me, but my name is Mrs. Fields, just in case. So today we're going, this is our math lesson, and we're going to start with reviewing. We do homework first, right? We do 10. Homework corrections? Yeah. Draw a horizontal pair of line segments. Make the upper segment longer than the lower segment. Show me what horizontal line segments look like with the upper segment longer than the lower segment. Okay, we'll have to move it back a little bit. So the upper line was longer than the lower line. So you're right, those are parallel, but the upper one needs to be, there you go, perfect. So did everybody have something that looked like that? Read question number 2.
Jamar scored 1/4 of the team's 28 points. How many points did Jamar score?
Okay, so Valerie, why don't you write up here what's on it? Do you mind writing up here on the board? Just writing what you wrote on here? Did you do that one, or did Ms. Centers help you with that? So Valerie's going to show us how she got the answer. I wouldn't ask you to come up here and write the wrong answer on the board. So just copy exactly what you wrote. So the question asked for how many points. It asked how many points the player scored. So out of the 28 points, he scored 1/4 of the points. So Valerie, so they're asking for a quarter. So Valerie wrote 1/4 right there out of 28. So do you guys remember when you put 28 over 1, anything over a number 1 is the number on top. So 28 over 1 is equal to 28. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
You recall that? Okay. So when you have a bigger number in the top of the fraction and the smaller number in the bottom, so the numerator, the denominator, and the numerator, which I know you guys already studied because Ms. Centers and I talked about fractions already. So you reduce this one, or you divide, it'd be the same thing as going 4 divided into 28.
6.
Which is what?
6.
What does Valerie have right here?
7.
And then you know how we can check this?
Divide.
Well, we divide it to get to the answer.
Multiply.
Easy. So what's the opposite, right?
Multiply.
Multiply is the opposite. So 7, so we get 7, so we can do 7 times 4, and that equals what? 28. So if he scored a quarter of the 28 points, we have how many points?
7.
7. He scored 7 points. Good job, Valerie. Okay, so Jaheen, can you read question number 3?
Yes. Tickets to the
Matinee.
for 15 penalties. Mr. Jones bought 4 tickets. What is the total cost of the tickets?
So what are they asking for in this question?
They're asking for how much did it cost for 4 tickets?
For 4 tickets. So we could write, so you told me that you're asking for the cost of 4 tickets, so we know they want 4. And then how much were the tickets each?
$15.
$15. So we would use what? We would multiply, right?
Yes.
So Julian said 60. So, and he's exactly right. That's how perfect. Jaheen got $295. Okay. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Knight. So it's $295 is what's left, so that's what's called the profit. Okay, number 5. In 2 hours, the 3 boys picked a total of 1,347 cherries. If they share the cherries evenly, then each boy will get how many cherries? Casey, what process we're going to do? We're going to figure out. Yes. Tell me again what process you've used. Yes, right. And it's perfect. You can come up here and show me what 3/4 will look like. 3/4, same thing. I see 3/4. And remember, we write a fraction. What is the number on the top called?
Numerator.
And the bottom number is called what? Yes. Perfect. 3/4. And it's how many thirds? Thank you. Okay, and then I like to look at it this way. When they tell us about eating, I look at in fractions. I look at pizza, and I think, which one would I rather have? You went ahead. Yes, pictures are excellent to help us visualize.
Names, right?
Okay, so Janat and his 4 sisters are going to split 2 medium pizzas, just like I said. How much pizza will each receive? Draw a diagram to represent your answer. Okay. What we're going to talk about in this lesson is quadrilaterals. So a quadrilateral is a shape that has 4 sides. Okay? What, Julian, what's a shape that has 4 sides?
Triangle. No,
Square.
square.
And what would be another? Okay, since case, Julian, tell me what would be another one that has 4 sides.
No. Quadrilateral.
What's that kind of a funny shaped square?
Quadrilateral.
Yeah, you're right. And what else? Valerie, what's a really common 4-sided shape other than a square? Right. So we all know a square, right? That's more than a rectangle. A rectangle. I'll make a better square. Square. So if we recall from lesson 21, a quadrilateral is a polygon with 4 sides. So recall is to remember, right? So if we think back, all the way back to lesson 21, which I know is a long time ago, but quadrilaterals have 4 sides. Quadrilaterals have many different shapes. So we already said a square and a rectangle. And then here are some examples of other quadrilaterals. There's trapezoid, parallelograms, and oh, here's a trapezoid. This one. So what they have to do is they have to have 2 parallel sides. So parallel, and remember from your homework last night, we had to draw 2 parallel lines, but one was bigger on top and one was shorter on the bottom. So they just means, parallel means what, Casey? They do what?
Well, they're the same size. Well, not all the same size, but they're the same.
They don't have to be the same size, but they have to be the same.
Same length.
They have to be the same distance apart, right? They go forever, or for as long as they go. Sometimes they go forever. Like, Jaheen, what would be an example of parallel lines that can go on for a long time outside in the world? Can you think of anything?
Well,
We have them in Davis. They're in Davis.
Train tracks.
Who said that? Mr. Nye. Thank you. Train tracks, right? Those are parallel because they have to be the same shape, the same distance apart, or the train would fall off the tracks, right? So, okay. Okay, in this lesson we're going to learn ways to sort quadrilaterals, and we're going to practice drawing them. One way quadrilaterals are sorted is by parallel sides. Remember that parallel sides run in the same direction and remain the same distance apart. So in the book it shows 3 different parallel lines. So for all on page 235, right here, see how these are different. These would be like train tracks. The middle section would be like train tracks. So Valerie, can you read the next part line? If we put
If you put the left hand parallel segments with the center pair, we get this
Okay, so what they're saying in the book on page 235 is if we took, Jean, do you see in the middle of the page where there's the different sets of parallel lines? So if we take the first set of parallel lines and we put them with the second set of parallel lines, we get this picture in the middle. So then if we put the right-hand pair with the center pair, we get this quadrilateral. So if we put the right-hand pair with the center pair, we get this one, which is called a rectangle. Both these quadrilaterals have 2 pairs of parallel sides. Below we show some more quadrilaterals with 2 pairs of parallel sides. So here on the bottom here, page 235, there are more examples of quadrilaterals. These quadrilaterals are all called, Casey, it's a big one, can you say that word? Parallelograms. Meaning that they have 2 pairs of parallel sides. Okay. If we turn the page, parallelograms are quadrilaterals with 2 pairs of parallel sides. Trapezoids are another kind of parallelograms. Trapezoids only have 1 pair of parallel sides. And the trapezoid was this funny one right here. always hard for me when I was your age. So trapezoids are another type of quadrilateral. Trapezoids only have one pair of parallel sides. The other pair of the sides is not parallel. And here's a shape I've never even heard of. Some quadrilaterals have no parallel sides. In the United States, Valerie, can you try to say that word?
Yeah.
What do you think, Casey?
Trapezumas.
Julie, what do you think?
Trapezumes.
I honestly have never seen that word before. I
Yes,
think
yes,
Julie is
I
right.
know that last year was weird, but I did personally.
Okay.
Because I asked her.
May I please use the restroom?
Yes, and thank you for asking. Okay, Valerie, I'm going to have everybody come up and take a turn at drawing a parallelogram on, or a quadrilateral, excuse me, on the, a different kind of quadrilateral on Jean's screen. I said Valerie, please.
I'm stretching.
Stretching?
Yes.
See, you know, they say you learn something new every day. So see, Mrs. Fields, I just learned a new shape. Okay, so you're going to draw a picture of
I did.
a,
Don't they at least have to
Parallel.
have like a right triangle, like a right?
Nope.
you can draw whichever one you want. So we talked about square, rectangle, trapezoid.
Or on this.
A rhombus is not a parallelogram. We need to have parallel lines. Is what we're talking about.
Is obviously there's
Yeah. And so what is this one? What is rectangle? Okay, Jaheen. Excellent. Very good. Okay. Casey. Remember, it only needs to have one pair of parallel lines. So,
Oh my god, this one.
perfect. So in these three different shapes that you guys drew, the thing they all have in common is they have one set of parallel lines, and they do have right angles. Valerie said one thing that they have in common is that they have right angles. And if we look at page 238, it says, a parallelogram with four congruent angles is a rectangle. Each angle of a rectangle is a right angle. Each pair of adjacent sides are perpendicular. Perpendicular, do we remember what perpendicular means?
Yes.
Parallel lines never intersect, right?
Yeah.
Parallel lines
no.
run next to each other.
Oh, they do intersect.
So here's a rectangle. Remember that we talked about a right angle like this. That is a symbol for a right angle.
Yeah.
So if we have a square, perpendicular lines, so parallel lines run and they never touch. They can be like that, they can be like that. As long as they're the same distance apart and they don't ever touch. Perpendicular lines do touch. They intersect at some point. A parallelogram with four congruent sides, four sides of equal length, is a rhombus.
Genius.
You are a genius, yes. Some people refer to a rhombus as a diamond. So that's a new word. A diamond and a rhombus are the same thing. So Julian, we can call a diamond if we want to be fancy. We can say it's a rhombus.
Yes, because if you carve it, because like, okay, do they like Minecraft?
Yes.
Yes.
So
It's like Minecraft. It's like
okay, let's stand test, please.
Yes.
Okay. A rhombus is an equilateral quadrilateral. An equilateral quadrilateral. That's a lot of L's. Just like a rectangle with all sides of equal length is an equilateral triangle. So a rhombus is an equilateral quadrilateral. So we could say a rhombus. What's the non-fancy word for a rhombus?
Rhombus is
What would we call
a
this?
diamond.
Exactly. So I like diamond better. If you want to sound fancy, you can say rhombus. You can go home, Casey, and tell your dad rhombus
You have to
tonight.
buy me a diamond.
And you can say you have to buy me a rhombus.
What is that?
It's a diamond.
It's a diamond, but not really. That's a diamond shape, so right. Okay. A square is both a rectangle and a rhombus. A square has four right angles and four congruent sides. So it means it has four right angles 238, Mallory, can you read the example one for us? Example of square, which of the following would not be a square? A square is a quadrilateral with parallel sides of equal length that intersect at right angles. So just like we talked about here, equal length, right angles. In these four pictures, which one of these, and these four, a parallelogram, a rhombus, a rectangle, or a trapezoid, which one of these could never be a square? Which would not,
Trapezoid.
okay, who else? Julian, which one do you think?
Which one can be squared?
Which one does not have sides that are equal length? Look in your book at the pictures of the different parallelogram. We're on page 238. So this one right here.
Yeah, oh,
So this one is so
this one D.
and then Valerie, which one do you think could not be a Jean, which one do you think could not be a parallelogram? Which one, I mean, I'm sorry, which one could never be a square? It would be trapezoid, D. And Julian, you pointed to it, that's a trapezoid, this one. So, all right, so I think now is when we normally go on to the practice, right?
I started it.
Okay.
Why did I start it?
Okay, so